Hello, Aquarius. Take a seat, sit back, and relax. There's nothing else you need to do in this present moment except to relax and enjoy this reading. And I'm going to enjoy this reading by shuffling these pre-shuffled cards and jumbling up and see what happens. Ooh, I like that. I like symmetrical things. I have OCD. Alright. I love this card. I want to be friends with anybody that gets this card. I like these type of people. Right? This is when Dunner, or I guess this is when it was Saber now. When Dunner Mifflin turned into Saber. And they had a challenge for the whole branch, all of the branches, to see which branch could lose the most weight, right? And so everybody was doing this losing weight, and everybody started off amazing, right? But then everybody started slacking off because, they weren't really doing it for themselves. They were doing it for the vacation days. They were doing it for the prize, right? Their goal wasn't to lose weight. Their goal was to get vacation days. So a challenge like that, it becomes very hard because your goal is the reward, not the adventure, not the path to the reward, right? But Stanley was different. Stanley knew he gained some weight. Stanley knew he lost some of his fire, is what he said. And he wanted to get some of that fire back. So Stanley was over here losing weight, not for the vacation days, not for their branch, but he was doing it for himself because he wanted to get that fire back, right? And while everyone else started eating cake, Stanley was still eating baklava. He was still sticking to it because it is something that he wanted to do for himself, right? And I absolutely love those people. I want those people on my team where they set a goal and they don't care how the people around them are doing, right? They don't care to be the best. They don't care to outdo everyone around them. They don't care that it's for another reason. They care because that's something that they want to do for themselves, because they want to better themselves. People usually they can better themselves for other people, but when a person betters themselves because they want to better themselves, just that simple fact of wanting to better themselves, that's a special type of energy right there. And those are special type of people, Aquarius. And you are one of them. The Emperor. Yep. That is Emperor type ass energy. Right? And morality. Let's take a look. I'm gonna take a look in the book because I don't get that card very often, so I'm not really sure what this morality card is about. So let's find out. There's the Queen of Clouds, which is the Queen of Swords. Interesting. And I flipped right to the page too. So let's see what this card is about. Morality has restricted all of the juice and energy of life to the narrow confines of her mind. It can't flow there, so she really has become a dried up old prune. Her whole manner is very proper and stiff and severe, and she was always ready to see every situation as black and white, like the jewel she wears around her neck. The Queen of Clouds lurks in the minds of all of us who have been brought up with rigid ideas of good and bad, sinful and virtuous, acceptable and unacceptable, moral and immoral. Okay, cool. So this is like religion, right? Everybody does things, the good things, right? Because that's what they're told. But if you ask them like why they're doing those things, they don't know. They're just doing it because they're told, right? But when you know and understand, when you have those own morals, when you are doing it for yourself because you want to do it for yourself, you want to better yourself, right? And that's a whole different type of energy. It's important to remember that all these judgments of the mind are just products of our conditioning. And whether our judgments are applied to ourselves or to others, they keep us from experiencing the beauty and godliness that lies within. Only when we break through the cage of our conditioning and reach the truth of our own hearts can we begin to see life as it really is. Yeah. Be the emperor of yourself. Don't let somebody else be the emperor. Be in charge of what you think, right? Right. The moon and the lovers. Cool. This is cool. This feels like the sun shines so bright, even though it's surrounded by darkness. The moon reflects that sunlight, even though it's surrounded by darkness. The Lovers. The Lovers is a major arcana card. Major arcana cards are things that are bigger than us, right? Like higher dimension type of stuff, right? This isn't you and your lover on this earth. This is bigger than that. And what's bigger than that? Well, you can't forget about your first love. And who is that, you might ask? Well, your first love is yourself. That is your first love. Don't forget the lovers. That is you and you. Right? Imagine you have a soul and there's a body, right? And those marry each other to create this cool human being that you are. See, look at how it's a black and white, white, black. This is that yin yang. Interesting, right? There's no good, set good. There is no set bad, like this morality card was saying. There is bad and good, and there is good and bad. Which is interesting, because the Emperor is about the set rules, you know. But that's like following what other people say is still, you know. So, like just like now, we have so many rules, right? That the rules are becoming more important than the reason that those rules were put there in the first place. Right? There's so many rules, like how do we follow them? We, you know. I feel like a country is better when it trusts its people. Because there is going to be bad people, there is going to be good people as well. How cool would it be to be actually free, right? This country is about freedom. So if it is about freedom, why do we have so many rules? That's like the opposite of freedom. How cool would it be, you know, to be able to trust people around you? We already do. Take driving, for example. Like, you're literally trusting the driver to stay in his lane and to not crash into you, you know. Sometimes accidents happen, but all of the time, pretty much, you're trusting that the cars around you are gonna, you know, riding their own path. So why can't it be like that for all the time, you know? You know, having so many rules, it's like having people in chains. And when you chain people up, of course they're not gonna, you know, of course they might lash out. But if you give people their freedom, it's honestly gonna be a lot less likely for people to lash out. Hurt people, right? So yeah, this is like, we see this in shows, you know, people having their own codes. And yeah, just like Stanley had his own goal, right? Yeah. Existence. I love that card. And the Three of Swords. Ooh. That's a painful ass heartbreak. Existence. So cool. Remember how I was talking about the lovers? That this didn't deal about somebody else. It's not about other people. This is bigger than us. And if God is a one, you know, and we are all God, then something bigger than us is we are all one. We're all on our own kind of. We're all one existence. I read that morality card, but I really want to read this card because I love the words that it uses for this card. And this is the Magician, right? Number one. This is the Magician. The Magician is all about creating your own, using your own skill, creating things your own way. Alright, this naked figure sits on the lotus leaf of perfection, gazing at the beauty of the night sky. She knows that home is not a physical place in the outside world, but an inner quality of relaxation and acceptance. The stars, the rocks, the trees, the flowers, fish and birds, all are our brothers and sisters in this dance of life. We human beings tend to forget this as we pursue our own private agendas and believe we must fight to get what we need. Alright, so this says private agendas, and that is a negative connotation on it, right? But as you can see, Stanley had his own private agenda, but was it negative what he was doing? No. And ultimately, our sense of separateness is just an illusion, manufactured by the narrow preoccupations of the mind. Now is the time to look at whether you are allowing yourself to receive the extraordinary gift of feeling at home wherever you are. If you are, be sure to take time to savor it so it can deepen and remain with you. If on the other hand, you've been feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. Go outside tonight and look at the stars. Even if you don't feel like the world is out to get you, I recommend going outside tonight and looking at the stars. Ultimately, if there is only one, right, when you go outside tonight and look at the stars, all that vast emptiness, all those bright, shining stars that are so far away, it's all just one. We're not separate. How cool is that? But it seems like you do feel like the world has out to get you, or else this Three of Swords wouldn't have been here. So this is kind of like the medicine to whatever pain it is that you're feeling right now. Because the moon is here too. And I would like to read one thing about the moon card that I absolutely love. And you're gonna love this too, Aquarius. This is Aquarius type energy. To see the moon this way. So, about the moon. One is reminded of the mental echo of subconscious realization of that supreme iniquity which mystics have constantly celebrated in their accounts of the dark night of the soul. But the best men, the true men, do not consider the matters in such terms at all. Whatever horrors may afflict the soul, whatever abominations may excite the loathing of the heart, whatever terrors may assail the mind, the answer is the same at every stage. How splendid is the adventure. Right? How cool is that? That the best men, the true men, do not even see when things are going wrong that it's the dark night of the soul happening. They see it as how splendid is this adventure. Yeah, that shit's powerful and I love that. Alright, let's get some last words of advice from the Office Oracle deck. Hug it out, bitch. Look at that, another number one. Hug it out, bitch. Especially when it deals with yourself. Especially when it deals with yourself. And this is definitely talking about yourself. Look at that one, the Lover's here, right? Make sure you treat yourself like a lover, like you would a lover, because you are your first love. And 31. See, this is that chaos. This is that dark night of the soul type of stuff, right? I mean, chaos, you would think whenever somebody says chaos, oh, it's something, it means something bad is happening, right? Things aren't ordered like this emperor. Things are out of order, right? But Nelly comes to tell us that she walked right into a job for which she was ill-prepared, ill-suited, and somebody else already had. And she got it. Anything can happen to anyone. It's just random. I have pi here because to me pi explains that pretty well, right? Pi, the digits of pi, right? 3.1415269 or 296. Anyways, you know pi. See, and you can recognize that, right? When I said 3.1415, right? You recognize it probably as pi. But imagine you didn't know it as pi. You would just think those are some random numbers that I was saying in no particular order, right? But pi is always going to be pi. You are always going to be you. No matter how random it seems, you are always you. Pi will always be pi. And those random string of digits are going to be those same random string of digits every time, right? Pi will always be pi. So make sure you treat yourself a little better, Aquarius. Cool. Love that for you. Alright. Well, I really hope this reading helped. If it did help, please help me as well by liking this video, by commenting on anything that was said, any concerns, anything at all. And subscribe if you would like to keep hanging out. This is a safe space, this is a safe home where we try to figure life out together. So I thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.